Hello, everyone. Today we're going to talk about slope. Uh, Basically, before I start to show you how the formula works and how the math works, I just want to quickly show you how we are dealing with slope in our real life, right? And how we can understand that physically better. It might help understand the formula better as well. It's very quick. So just bear with me. Uh, as a general formula, a slope is considered to have two main parts, run and rise, right? If you can understand how much is a run, how much is a rise, you just divide them together and then done. Slope is calculated. To just mention and emphasize that a slope is always a number, right? A slope is a number, and this number can be anything. This number can be 2, 3, 4, minus 10, 0, or even 2.4. Any number, right? Depending on how much run and rise could be. So let's say on a steep road here, let me make it a little bit thicker. On this example, on a steep road, we see a run, and basically a run is how much you go right or left. And you have a rise. Rise is going to show us how much we go up or down. So the same example applies to a staircase. You have run, you have rise, and they have values, right? And it can show us how much steep is this staircase. Same example on a wheelchair ramp, right? On a wheelchair ramp, you have a rise and a run, and then based on them, you can calculate the slope of that ramp. Similar on a roller coaster, you have run and rise, and then you just divide them and then done. Slope is calculated. I will talk about the formula a little bit more in detail so you can understand and actually get to the number of a slope. So this is where I will talk more in details about how we are going to calculate the slope. Just remember, slope tells us how steep something is. How steep something is. A slope has two parts, run and rise. Run shows us how far we go horizontally, left or right. And rise tells us how much we go up or down, vertically. And then steeper means like more rise for the same run. Next step, I'm going to show you a real example with some numbers so we can calculate and get to the number for slope. Also, as a general rule, we have four types of a slope: positive, negative, zero, and undefined slope. So there is one rule, and that's the only rule that you can get to understand if the slope is positive, negative, zero, or it's undefined. So the main rule is if you have a line and you want to see the slope is positive or negative, you start from its left hand side and try to go to the right hand side of that line. And then if you are rising from left to right, it means you have the positive slope. For negative slope, try to go from its left. Let me clear that. On a negative slope, again, same rule. What was the rule? We try to go from the left hand side to the right hand side of the line, right? From left to right. And through that movement, if you're going down or if you're falling, the slope is negative. Here, going from left to right, it takes us rising, right? So it's positive. So that's the rule for positive and negative slope. And for a zero slope, this line has a zero slope. Why it's zero? Because there is no rise. There is no up or down. Whatever you see is horizontal movement, just from left to right. And for undefined slope, or sometimes it's called infinity, you only have rise. You only have up or down. You only have rise. There is no left and right. So all the movements are vertical. That's how you define that slope as an undefined slope. Okay, here I have an example where we can calculate the slope. So I'm going to show you here what is the formula for a slope. Slope is defined as, I'm going to make it a little bit thinner, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And don't worry, I'm going to show you what are those y and x's, right? So based on this formula, if you can have y2, y1, x2, and x1, if you have those numbers, it's done, right? It's just some manipulation, mathematical manipulation to get to know what is the slope. So then the goal for now is to go and find what are those y and x's, right? So this is the formula. So what is given to us is 2 points, A and B. We have 2 points in the x, y coordinates, and we want to understand if we have a straight line drawn between A and B, what is the slope of that straight line? Okay, so then what do we have here is just 2 points. We have point A, we have point B, and you can call them anything. You can call them points, I don't know, E and point X, whatever. It doesn't matter, whatever you want to name them, right? The only thing is, I'm going to call this point number 1, and point B, I'm going to call it point number 2. Why am I doing that? Because I want to get to know these values. Okay? So just name first point 1, name second point 2. And it doesn't matter. If you want to call this point number 1, call the other one point number 2. It doesn't matter at all. Okay, so based on this given values, point A has a x1 and y1, and it is, how much are they? It's -3 and 2, right? -3 and 2. And for point B, I have x2 and y2, and how much are they? Here, 2 and -3. 2 and -3. So I'm going to put these numbers, just going to plug in these numbers into the formula. So a slope, I'm going to call slope M. Sometimes people calling slope M. It's just a naming. It's not a big deal, right? So the slope is y2. How much was y2? y2 is here. -3. And then keep that negative sign or minus sign. How much was y1? y1 is here. It's 2. x2, I'm going to show it with the blue pen. x2 is here. How much was it? 2. And then keep that negative sign here. x1, how much is x1? x1 is for A, is -3. And then just simplify that. M equals -3 minus 2 is -5. And down here is 2 minus -3. I'm going to repeat here. This is going to be a plus sign. Negative is plus. So it's 2 plus 3. So down the road, M equals -5 over 5, which is -1. Okay? So then how do you start to calculate the slope? First, you need to know this formula. Second is to get to know what are these y2, y1, x2, x1. And then how do we get those y and x's? From the points that you are being given. For example, here, point A has a -3 for x. And why is it negative? Because on the x-axis, you go 1, 2, 3 to the left, and that's why it's -3. You have a y, a +2 for y. Why is it positive? Because for a, you have to go 1, 2 upward, and that's why it's +2, or just 2, right? It's not negative, because you go up. For point B, the x is +2. Why is it +2? Because on the x-axis, you go right, 1, 2, and then y for B is -3. Why is it negative? Because for B, you have to go down 1, 2, 3, right? That's why it's -3. And then as a summary, point A has a negative x coordinate and positive y coordinate. Point B has a positive x coordinate and negative y coordinate. And then based on all these numbers which are given to you and the formula for the slope, you can get to understand and calculate the slope. So I'm just gonna briefly again tell you how and what you should do at the beginning when you are given such a problem. First of all, you need to have the formula. I'm just gonna keep the formula here. This is the first thing you need to have. Second, you need to find y and x's. y1, x1, y2, x2. And where do you get them? From the points that you are being given. And then just calculate the slope or m. So first point, formula. Second point, get to know these numbers. And then plug them in, get the m. Okay, now I have another example for you. Here I have point A, which has a coordinate of 1, 2, 3, 4. That's +4 or just 4. And y is 1, 2. So this is its x, and this is its y for point A. And for point B, I have x is 1, 2, and it's to the left, it's negative. And for y, it's 1, 2, again, -2 because it goes down. So, and this is its x and y, right? So now I want you use the slope formula or m and tell me how much is this slope, okay? This is your calculation. You can comment down the number that you get. If you have any question about any stuff being talked here, let me know. You can comment below here your question, your answer to this final question, and hopefully it made a little bit easier for you to understand the slope. Have a good day.